This 45-gallon reef aquarium is the home of Pedra, my 16-year-old Clarkii clownfish. About 6 months ago, I decided to try giving her her first roommate. I had been quarantining a little Aiptasia-Eating Filefish for nearly 3 months in a separate tank, and it was finally time to add him to the big tank. His name is Mustard. I was apprehensive about adding tank mites because Clarkii clownfish are known to be rather aggressive towards other fish. However, filefish are covered in tiny spines and have excellent camouflage, so I was confident Mustard would not be bothered by Pedra. After a lengthy acclimation, I released Mustard into the tank and was dismayed to see Pedra began to chase him right away. So since then, he's been hiding in the corners of the tank and only coming out at night. So I worry that if I don't improve Mustard's living conditions, his health might eventually be affected. My ultimate goal is to upgrade to a larger tank. I have a 75-gallon that I bought for that purpose, but I have not been able to afford any of the additional equipment or substrate that I need to set that tank up properly. So I want to improve this one in the meantime so that I don't have to worry about Mustard while I'm saving up to build a larger tank. So I want to trim this blade caulerpa here, which is all of this bright green stuff, which is what I have the most of. I've also got it at the top right here and up here, and I would like to add some in down here. You can see I need to thin it out because there's this whole dark section where we just have algae and bristleworms, and there's not really any light getting through. And then this here, I believe, is dragon's breath macroalgae, and I just want to separate that into a few smaller pieces because it's taking up quite a bit of space. It's turned into quite a large piece. And then my plan to help Mustard is to take some of this blade caulerpa here that's in here, and I want to add it sort of into the middle section because often I see him zip past this area really quickly. And so if I put some kind of in this area right here and then also glue some up here, I'm hoping it'll sort of create some cover in this area that'll give him sort of a highway from this side of the tank to the other side of the tank. I've also got just a couple of black sponges. They're hard to see from this angle, but right here and right here to sort of enclose underneath this filter, because that's one of his favorite places to hide. So that blocks Pedra from going right up under the filter, but it also doesn't look very nice and also contributes to dead spots. So I want to take those sponges out and maybe replace them with a rock. If I have one that fits, and if not, I'll just try to cover it with the algae that I have. So here you can see a bit better what I'm talking about with these sponges. So this right here is sort of Mustard's safe space that he likes to hide in. So I've got this sponge here and then another one over here so that Pedra can't swim through the top and go in and attack him. But it's kind of making this whole side of the tank just not get any light, and I can't clean the glass with it there, so I want to fix that up today. And I'm also going to take out this power head that's back here because it stopped working. So now it's just sitting there looking ugly. And then I want to try and put some algae on this side to fill it in and add some greenery. And Mustard also likes to hide on this side right in here. See if I can. So my plan is to take out some of this macroalgae, and I'm going to cut it up into smaller pieces, and then I am going to glue it onto some shells and then glue it to the larger rocks. And that way it'll stay in one place better. I'm always careful to put my gloves on because I have a lot of bristleworms in this tank. And also this anemone, which I react to that anemone sting. Start with this pile and see where I get. So the macroalgae floats by itself and doesn't like to stay in particular locations unless I plant it really deep into the substrate. But I like having it sit on some of the rocks, and Pedra also likes to pull it around. So I need to have a way of anchoring it down in place even when I can't put substrate over it. And what I've found works quite well is just using some cyanoacrylate superglue and gluing some piece, it doesn't seem to matter which piece, but some piece of the algae to, say, a clam shell or a snail shell, and then adding that to the tank. And that lets the macroalgae stay in one place because it's weighed down by the shell, but it still grows perfectly fine. It doesn't have any issues. I haven't seen any die off because of the super glue. So that's how I've been trying to place my macroalgae. I added an extra rock on the side of the tank near the filter to add a little bit more cover for mustard because it was still quite bare after just adding one. I also didn't have quite as much of the blade algae as I would have liked, so it's not looking as full and dense as I would have hoped, but that's fine because it will grow in quite quickly, and I think I've put it in lots of good little places to let it grow in a way that will help the tank really fill out and give mustard a bunch more cover. So this is where we've ended up. It's been 2 days since I glued the macroalgae to shells and put them back in the tank, and I've sort of settled on this as the final arrangement. Although Mustard's still feeling very shy, I've seen him in a few places where he normally doesn't go, including this little cave here and in between the new rock and the old ones that are on the side. Because I didn't quite have enough of the blade algae, I wasn't able to do sort of the bridge across the tank that I was imagining. So what I decided to do is just cut out a piece of the black foam that I had in the tank before into this little archway here. And I'm hoping that over time the blade algae will actually grow on and into that sponge and then create a sort of highway going across. I'll keep you updated on how it fills in, how it grows in, and how Mustard does in this new setup. He's very elusive, so I don't know if I'll see him anymore with this setup, but I'm confident that it's an improvement over what he had before. It'll be a while before I can set up the larger tank, and I would like to add more fish to this one in the meantime. So let me know down in the comments which fish you think I should add next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.